Three, two, one, we are live. Okay, guys, because we have our cold calling workshop coming up this Saturday from 10 to 12, where we are going to get on those phones with you and get some deals closed for you. I want to show you my top 10 cold calling tips. Now, you have to excuse me because you guys know we have been away from our home for 13 weeks traveling. We are now in Ohio and my son is in that tree, so I have to watch him as I get this video done. Anyway, let's get right into it. My very first tip is be confident and smile. They can't see you, so it doesn't really matter what you're wearing, but it matters how you feel, right? So for me, when I first started cold calling, I literally would get dressed up, put makeup on. I want to feel my best when I'm making these calls. I mean, now I don't care. Now you guys see I'll do a video, no makeup, no hair, could care less. But when I first got started, I needed to feel good about myself before I got on those phones. And it made a huge difference in my confidence level. So just remember, they cannot see you, but you want to smile through the phone call and just be approachable. That's tip number one. Tip number two, be yourself or not, right? So at my workshop, we're going to do something called What Kind of Cold Caller Are You? And it's just a mini assessment to figure out who you are, how you feel most comfortable talking and having those phone calls. And you want to harp on what works for you and what your strengths are. So if you're like me and you're introverted, I don't really want to talk a lot, well, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions to get to know you. I want you talking. If you know you're loquacious and you are talking the entire time, then you might want to set up your phone calls in a different way than I would. Oh gosh, he is way in that tree. That's too high, baby. Get down. Anyway, so figure out what type of cold caller you are, figure out what your strengths are, and then you want to make your cold calling style around what you feel most comfortable doing. Now, the part where I said be yourself or not is, again, I am very introverted and I tend to take things very personally, right? So I don't call as myself. Even though I know I'm the business owner, I am the investor, I personally create another persona. I have a different name that I use, a different position that I use, because it makes me feel more comfortable being on the phones as someone else. It just does. That way, when they're saying no, I don't feel like they're saying no to Ashley. They're saying no to Susie or Sally or Laura or whoever else I might be that day. That works for me. So be yourself or not is tip number two. Tip number three for cold calling, stay committed. The first 10 calls of the day are always my hardest calls. I even call those just like my practice calls to just kind of get the kinks out and get it over with. And, really get myself in there. Sorry. This is Brittany. She's actually going to be co-hosting Happy Hour with me. I'll call her right back. Brittany, if you're watching this, I'm going to call you right back. I just want to get through these 10 tips before my son falls out of the tree. Okay, so anyway, just get to the first 10. Don't put the pressure on yourself to make every phone call must be the one. No, the truth is some phone calls are just going to be warm up. Some phone calls are just going to be a sparring match to help you get your chops up, to learn better for the next phone calls. If you have a list of about 1,000, what's 10? Get through the first 10. And once you get up to 10, at least for me, that's when I just kind of start flowing. I'm like, all right, phone calls are coming. Let's just go and knock them out. But the first 10, I still feel nervous. I still feel tingly and I have butterflies in my stomach. But usually after that, yeah, let's just go and get it done. All right. So tip number 4 is gauge motivation. One thing that I see so many times when I'm doing these workshops and teaching people how to cold call, they think their job is to convince the person on the phone to say yes. That is not your job. I know they have all of these gurus out here saying, here's how you change their mind. I don't want anybody selling me their house who doesn't want to, especially since I do a lot of creative finance. And subject to, it's all about rapport and relationships. So if they're feeling like they're being pressured to sell me their home subject to, that can just go so many ways wrong in so many different ways. So gauge motivation. If they're not motivated to sell, they're not necessarily answering questions, they're going to go into one or two piles. Follow up, because maybe their motivation will change or increase in the next coming weeks, or off the list. Look, they were rude to me, or I didn't feel comfortable in the conversation. Fine, bye, on to the next. It's a numbers game. Of course, we're in this for people, but before we get to the people, it's just numbers. I know based on my KPIs, if I make 1,000 phone calls, I'm going to walk away with 30 deals. So I'm going to make my 1,000 phone calls. Drew, you need help? Okay. I'm going to make my 1,000 phone calls because I want to get my 30 deals closed, guys. It's as simple as that. Now, when I get to my 30, That's when I go into people mode, because now I'm working with those 30 people who said yes to me, and I'm now responsible for those people. But the 1,000 numbers on that list, again, I'm doing that based on my KPIs. I know how many numbers I need to call to get the kind of deals that I want to close. All right, number 5, set a schedule and stick to it daily. Set that schedule. You can do it in your Google Calendar, however, but you need to have a schedule and say, every day at this time, I am cold calling. I have one friend who was in our happy hour group maybe 2 weeks ago, and she still works 9 to 5. And so she says, I only have 45 minutes a day to call during my lunch. So every single day during my lunch, I'm calling. So she has consistency. And your brain is going to pick up on that, right? Your body is going to have muscle memory. You're going to know every day at this time, I need to make phone calls. And what that is going to do is it's going to lessen the excuses, because it's going to be so easy for you to figure out reasons why you can't do it. Or I'm too busy, or I have this done. But when you write it down and you put it in your calendar, you're making it a priority and you're going to get it done. Sorry, I had to check that tree and make sure he wasn't stuck in there. All right, where are we? Number 6, be original. Every time I teach this course, and I'm teaching it again on Saturday at our Cold Call Live workshop, so I already know I'm going to get this question. What script do you use? Do not jump, climb down. What script do you use? What script do you use? My advice is focus on the objection rebuttals, right? I mean, you can read some scripts just to kind of get some ideas, but don't forget what I said about number 1, who are you as a cold caller? So if you're going to be looking at scripts, look at scripts that are going to maximize your strengths, maximize what you do the best when you're on the phones. And so, yes, read the scripts, but you don't want to be reading it word for word and verbatim. You want to start learning those objections. If I had any advice to give, learn the objections that could come up. That way, when you're naturally flowing in conversation and an objection comes up, then you go back to, okay, that was on my objections list. I know what to say. They're probably going to be like the top 5 objections you keep hearing over and over and over. And eventually you'll be able to kind of mentally go back to how to address those objections. We call them objection rebuttals. But again, don't try to study a script. And I think, guys, I'm going to call you out. A lot of you guys just want to focus on the script so that you don't have to do the call. Well, if only I had the right script. Well, I guess I'll just Google for 5 hours the right script. Oh, I guess I'll just watch 20 hours of YouTube videos on scripts, because you just are doing something that we call avoidance. You're trying to avoid getting on the phones, and you're avoiding it. You're avoiding it by making yourself feel like you're busy doing other things that are going to help you on the phones, and scripts are not one of them. Look over a few, peruse them. The best thing to do, like I said, get on the phones. Those first 10, make them your warm up, and then after that, get on there and be a killer. All right, where are we? Number 7, record yourself. Record yourself. You can do this on Zoom. Some of you might have phones with the capabilities to record it. Record yourself, not for the sake of recording, but for the sake of training, because you're going to go back and you're going to critique and adjust. You're going to critique yourself. Was I talking too much? Like me right now, I'm talking too fast, right? Because I have a kid in the tree, but I want to do this video, but I can't do it the long way because I don't want him to fall out the tree and I miss it. That's like bad mom 101. Anyway, so if I were critiquing myself, I would say, wow, Ashley, we're speaking way too quickly. So the next time you get on the phones, just focus on slowing down and enunciating each word, because what you're saying is important and it is worth slowing down and allowing people to digest what it is that you are saying. But I don't have that luxury because I have a 4-year-old in the tree. But you get what I'm saying. You're going to record yourself so that you can learn and grow and become better. Also, you can record yourself because I always tell people this: find a partner, right? An accountability partner. Send that video over to them and let them critique you. How are they going to critique you? Well, you're the business owner. Create criteria of what you think you want to be on a cold call. And that could be from maybe some trainings that you've attended before that said, or I don't know, cold calling videos that you watched that you really liked about that person. Wow, that person is really good on the phones. Write down what it is that they're doing. Maybe write down the top 5 things that you love about what they're doing, and that would be your criterion for yourself. That way, when you go back to critique yourself and critique your videos, you have a checklist of what it is you want yourself to be doing and sounding like on those phone calls. Y'all know I was a teacher and a principal for a long time, right? Have you a checklist and some criteria so you know what you're monitoring. You cannot measure what you do not monitor, and you cannot monitor it if you don't know what you're looking for, which is why you have your criteria. Where are we? Number 8, speak in front of a mirror. Speak in front of a mirror. Because if you don't have someone there with you, then I'm telling you that mirror will make a difference. Have a hand mirror in front of you and just look yourself in the eyes while you're talking. And look for cues. Am I tense right now? Am I still smiling while I'm on the phone? But again, it makes your brain feel like you have an extra person in the room, and that is going to affect how you make your phone calls, because it's going to feel like you have more accountability there. Call in groups. The whole way I even started getting these workshops going and how I started doing the cold call workshops is for myself, right? I'm introverted. I don't want to be on the phones with people I don't know. I don't even like talking to people that I do know. So I started something where I would just have a group of people like, hey, y'all, let's just meet up at my house 3 o'clock and we're just going to do some cold calling together. And it made a huge difference because number one, I couldn't avoid it because people were knocking on my door ready to get started. And number two, I saw how iron sharpens iron. We started giving each other advice, feedback, and just being on those phones and just really knocking it out. So call together in groups. As a matter of fact, if you are going to be in our cold calling live workshop, the next 3 sessions, we offer 3 more days where we're going to be in a group setting. We call it our virtual call center, where we're all on together and we're all just as a group knocking out our own lists, just calling, because it works and it helps. And then my last tip number 10, and this is more talking to me than talking to y'all probably, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Think about the people we're calling, right? We're calling people with multiple motivations. Motivations means problems, and so if you're doing what I'm going to teach in my class on Saturday, which is list stacking, then you're calling people with multiple problems. They might not only be in pre-foreclosure, but maybe they're on the divorce list, or maybe they were also on the probate list. So they just got a divorce, they just lost a parent, and they're about to lose their house. They're not going to be in the best of moods. They're not going to feel like being your best friend on the phone today. So don't take it personally. Understand that we're calling these people for a reason, because they have problems. So don't get on the phone being shocked when some of those problems are being taken out on you. Just let it go. Remember, we're just looking for yeses. That's all we need, is some yeses, and then they become our responsibility, our babies, our clients, and then we take great care of them. I know these top 10 tips are going to help and bless somebody. But if this was not enough, if you want more, if you want to see how it's done in action, definitely sign up for our cold call live workshop. It is going to be awesome. It always is. At our last one, we had 2 people leave with seller appointments, and the workshop is only 2 hours. And the second hour of it is just on us on the phones. We're going to be coaching you through phone calls, or you can let them know your manager's going to call right back if you don't know what to say, and then I'll hop on the call with them and get that deal closed for you guys. But we're just offering a friendly, fun atmosphere where we're going to train you on how we do things. It'll be myself and my VA, John, because he does a lot of the cold calls with me. And we're going to train you on what we do, our processes, our KPIs, how we track. How was I able to tell you? I know if I call 1,000 people, I'm going to get 30 deals because I track it, right? So I want to teach you how I do it. I want to teach you guys how we communicate in real time during our cold calls, how we do our intake forms. Everything is virtual. As you guys know, I'm in Ohio right now. I'm 2,000 miles away from my residence, but I'm still running these businesses. And so I want to show you how I do it. We keep it super cheap. Really, I only charge to make sure you sign up. You show up. Because when I do stuff for free, everyone gets excited, and then, it was free, so you just, something else popped up, you want to show up. I know if I make you pay a little $50 or something cheap like that, enough to cover your gas, you'll show up, hopefully. Some people still won't, because $50 to some people is not a lot, to others it is. Anyway, so I think the early bird special is still going on, $49.99, 2 hours of cold calling training, and then we're going to hop on the phone, so you can bring your own list, and you'll call your list with our support, or if you don't have a list yet, you can call our list, and we'll get it done. I'm going to go get this kid out of the tree. I know this blessed somebody, y'all. I'll talk to you soon, and hopefully I'll be seeing you on Saturday.